Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Michael Lee here. Thank you so much for joining me live, whatever platform you may be on, but I'm sure that you are looking to get some incredible value today in terms of how to master sales. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, Michael, the word sales, I don't like it. Because this is why I created this title. People see salesmen as, well, you let me know in the chat. If you see a salesman, how do you feel about them? Do you want to be called a salesperson? Let me know in the chat, because, there's one of these biggest, the biggest resistance people don't want to sell is because they don't want to be seen as the car salesman. And let me know, how does a car salesman make you feel? I know some of you may be car salesmen that you're watching this. Please don't take an offense from it. But all I want you to think about is there's kind of a stereotype. There's almost a thing that, oh my goodness, car salesmen, all they're trying to do is rip me off. All they're trying to do is be real sleazy. All they're trying to do is make me make a decision that I don't want to do and put so much pressure on me that, I don't like confrontation. And that's what I call it. It's sleazy sales tactics. And personally, you probably don't like it. I don't like it either. Because how I see it as, it's the wrong way to sell. And also, some of you may be thinking, I don't even like the word sales. Right? Sale, I need to sell this, I need to do that. Because if I'm a seller, suddenly, or a salesperson, suddenly, I'm like the sleazy car salesperson. So ultimately, let me know in the chat, because I don't know where we are, because I've got some incredible tips here for you guys to learn from in terms of how to not be the sleazy salesperson, but also serve more people. But let me know in the chat if you're watching this live. If you're watching this live, put live in the chat. If you're watching this as a replay, put replay in the chat, because I just want to know who's here right now and who are the people that I can interact with as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So ultimately, I'm going to just break down sales and give you a better word than being the person that has to sell. Because ultimately, if you're watching this video, you probably have a business. Either whether it's a bricks and mortar business or an online business. But we also know that if you have a business, you have to sell. Because if you don't sell, you don't have a business, because sales equals income. And ultimately, the bottom line for every single business to measure if a business is doing well or not comes down to revenue. And I don't want you guys to sell yourself short, because a lot of you have incredible skills, incredible talents that can help so many people. And what I don't want you to do is give it away for free. Because if you give it away for free, guess what? You devalue who? Let me know in the chat. Absolutely. You devalue yourself. All that time it took you to learn something, just write down. If you want to help someone, right, in your service or in your business, or if there's a product you can help them with, just ask yourself this question: how long did it take you to get to that stage? It wasn't hours. It wasn't days. It also wasn't weeks. It wasn't months either. It's probably years. All right? It took you a long time. And if you start giving away your service for free, what you're telling me is all that time it took you to get to this stage, it was worth nothing. But of course, I want you to value yourself. And that's why I don't want you to think of yourself as, I'm the sleazy salesperson. But rather than being the sleazy salesperson, you are actually the person that serves the people you need to serve. And that's why we call it the audience, right? You can't serve everyone, let's be real. That's why whatever service or business or coaching or product you have to be really specific in who you're going to serve. Because if you're not specific, guess what happens? They just think you as the jack of all trades. You don't have enough knowledge or experience in what you do to truly help them. So I'm going to change the word from selling to serving. But essentially, there are two types of selling here. And one of them is called hard selling, and the second is called soft selling. And hard selling, I really don't like, really, because you know what hard selling is like? Buy this now, time's running out, make sure you get it now because you know we're running out of seats, we're running out of products because if you don't get it now, you've lost the opportunity. That's hard selling, all right? And that's like the car salesman. But at the end of the day, there's the other side of selling, which I call soft selling or soft serving, is basically meeting your client and saying, look, I'm all ears here. I'm here to listen to you and find out what you're struggling with. And as soon as I know what you're struggling with, is it okay if I let you know what are the potential solutions we can give you to fix that problem? Would that be okay? So you're just asking a question and they have the response saying yes or no. And when they say yes, great, because they're going to say yes. That's what they hear. They got a problem. Then you give them your solution and then you just ask a simple question. Is this something that would work with you? Or is it something that you like? And then you give them the choice. It's not, you must get this now. If you don't get this now, someone else will have it. It's not that. It's giving them the opportunity. Because you know, if their problem is that bad and then they understand what you're doing and why you're doing your service, then actually they'll say yes anyway. And this is the beauty of soft selling, because all you're doing essentially is this. It's called objection handling. And the objections people generally have is usually money or time, right? They're the two, it's money and time. And how do you know which one it is? And also, you can tell a lot about people in terms of why they have the objection. So, for example, if someone says, I can't afford that, then the question I would really be asking in my head would be, maybe their problem isn't big enough. Maybe they're okay suffering for a bit longer. That's why they don't want to get the speed of getting rid of this problem. Or maybe they haven't understood something that, okay, we can get rid of this problem right now. But of course, there's a fee for my time, because at the end of the day, it's either I get you out of this problem now, or you go and work it out yourself, which may take a long time, which will require a lot of suffering. And ultimately, the question we need to give them is, which one would you like? And generally, the people that value themselves, by the way, are the people that want to get the solution. They're the people that actually have an objection with time. I don't have time for this, I have time for that, but I'll pay for it. Can you do it for me? Yeah, absolutely. They're the people that value their own time. Right? But the people that actually object with money, they value more money over their own time. But you need to think logically here. Which one runs out? Time runs out. So why would people be spending time? Why would you want to work things out by yourself when someone else has already worked it out right? And ultimately, this is why I would say to people, if you value your time, you've got to spend the money to gain the time back. So you're not spending lots of time working things out. And ultimately, once you've actually got the knowledge, just execute it, do it, and now you can spend that time that you would have been spending trying to work things out with the things that you truly want to do, whether it's loved ones, whether it's doing your hobbies, whether it's learning something new, whatever it may be. But essentially, I call it the time tax. So, not many of you would have realized, don't know how I'm talking here, because a lot of you, actually, let me put in a chat if you get that, if you get it, put yes in the chat, because some of you may not realize that whole process that I just did was a soft sell. And I'm grinning here because I understood the process. Did I just deal with a lot of objections right now? Did I just teach it at the same time? Because soft selling is teaching while selling. Hard selling is, this is my product, buy now. They haven't taught anything. They haven't even checked in if someone actually understands what it is and actually if it really is aligned with their own morals, their beliefs, their values. They haven't checked in. So these are the things I want you to work on. If you have a business, if you have whether it's something that you're selling, whether it's a service or a product, first thing is this: you must be able to connect. If you don't connect, you won't sell anything, all right? Because let's be real with you. I'm going to give you a simple example. When you're at school, right, A lot of you been at school. When you're at school, right? If you just, in your own mind, or write it in a chat, think about what your favourite subject was. And whatever subject it may be maths, it may be English, it may be science, it may be physical education, whatever it may be. Whatever that was, the chances are it was your favourite subject because you liked the teacher. It was your favourite teacher. And because it was your favourite teacher, it automatically made you want to learn more. And this is my point about soft selling, is that if there's no connection, if the person that is a client doesn't even like you, there's no chance. But you need to get to know them. You also need to be very transparent in who you are. This is what I do. This is how I am. This is how I work. If you have any questions, ask me anything. I'm completely transparent. There's no stone you cannot unturn. Right? You just ask me anything. Happy to answer you and give you my honest opinion. Then you kind of think, well, this person has nothing to hide. And does that then give them confidence that they have your best interests at heart? Of course it does. And that's why, from my point of view, I always value honesty. And if you truly want to master sales, be honest. Be transparent. Do not put on this mask and this facade on, I need to be this master seller and, push them really hard. No. Just be yourself. And this is why I kind of, when I look at, a lot of people, they will say to me, oh, Michael, when people are like, they may be selling what you're selling, Michael, does it bother you? I was like, no, why would it bother me? Oh, but Michael, they may be like copying all the things that you are teaching. Does it bother you? No. Or how about what if they copy all like your social media posts and your emails and whatnot? Does it bother you? No. Why? Because all the things I post relate to my story. They can copy it, but they can't. It doesn't make sense, right? Because it relates to my story. And this is why it's so important to be honest, because all I'm doing is sharing my honest story. And it doesn't matter if people copy it, because they can't. What they'll be doing is sharing my story, which I don't mind. But the question is, how can they relate to themselves? But this is the thing. This is why they say stories actually sell. This is number 2. To be honest, you need to be telling a deep, personal story. And one of the stories I always share is this. People look at me like being online, teaching on stages, say, oh, Michael, how come you're so good at public speaking? You must have been really good as a kid. But the truth is, although I was privileged to go to a private school, I got a lot of racial abuse. So much racial abuse, I decided to say nothing between the ages of 14 and 18. I was known as the kid with no voice. And the sad thing is that, I said nothing. I had no friends for 4 years. But the question is, look at me now. People cannot believe it. My friends cannot believe it from school. I know I'm calling my friends, but the people at school cannot believe where I am now. And he was quiet. Look at him now. How good is he? And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I've decided to become something or become someone rather than hide. Because there was a journey here. And that's why people look at results, they don't look at the journey. I'm just sharing my journey. And I ask you, how many of you sometimes have fear of what people think of you? And that was my fear. Everyone has it. And some people have a fear of selling. Because there may be the confrontation. I don't like confrontation. Well, this is my 3rd tip. It's not a confrontation. It's a conversation. Because a lot of you think, oh, but I can't, I don't know them. I'm like, let me ask this question. Have you had a conversation with someone you don't know before? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Yeah, of course you have. Yes, of course you have. Right? And the thing is that if you can do that once, do you think you can do it twice? Because some of you are actually I'm going to call you out. Some of you will be thinking, oh yeah, actually, I had to speak to someone new back in the day. Yeah, it was my wife or my husband. I didn't even know them. And now look at us now, we're married. You had to speak to someone that you didn't know, and it turned out okay. And this is why I say to people is that, yeah, all of you, every one of you, you actually know how to sell to some degree, but during your journey, it's been clouded by fears and experience of other people. It's like, oh, I can't sell like them. Well, just tell me. I'll give you an example. When you went to meet, some of you may be married, did you just, to get on a date, you had to convince them to take you on a date? And when they say yes, great, guess what? You sold. But have you sold harshly? No. You just sold, this is who I am. If you like me, can we go for a date? Sure. Then the next thing is, you need to sell again to go on to a second date. All right? Then the question is, did you have a good time with me today? Yeah, great. Can we go on a date again? Sure, great. You sold again. Then to get to a point after a load of dates, the man has to ask this question. Will you what? If they want to get married anyway. Will you marry me? And then have to sell again. I would love you till death do us part. I love you no matter what. And it's another sale. So how many of you now see that selling is critical to life? Everything we do, we're actually selling. Right? Selling a concept, selling a belief, selling something that we believe is right. Okay? We all can sell. But the question is, are we selling the right thing? And I always believe, if you truly care for people, you must be selling something that is loving. Something that will make people's lives better, that will make people's lives happier, make people's lives healthier, whether it gives them more wealth, better communication, better relationships, whatever it may be. It improves people's lives. But it has to come from a serving heart. Because remember, the word love, to love someone or love something, it's to give. Right? You need to give. Loving is giving. So you need to be okay with giving. So those are my top tips in terms of if you want to be a sales master, you need to connect. Right? Make sure you're connecting. You need to be honest. You need to give. Right? And a lot of you might be thinking, oh yeah, I'm giving all this time and all that. I'm like, yeah, great. Because if you're focusing on giving and contributing and serving, the money will come anyway. But the people that focus on just on money, I'll be honest, their product or service may not be as good, just because the focus wasn't on the client and what to meet their needs, but more to actually just gather a load of money. And the problem with that is it tends to result in a lot of refunds or a lot of bad press. So if you have learned a lot today in terms of sales and that, always remember that it comes from you, your personal story. Your story of your lessons, because I can tell you now, particularly if you have a business or a coaching business and you may be thinking, I'm not sure what I can sell or what I can do to help other people. The simple question I ask you is this. What is the one greatest problem you ever struggled with in your life? And how did you overcome it? Because as soon as you know that you overcame it, that's a simple question. How many other people do you think are going through that right now? How many other people could do with your wisdom, with your knowledge? Because they're stuck. They don't know how to get out of it. And guess what? If you have the answer, do you think they would like the answer from you? Yeah, I think so. So this is why you need to be thinking, what can you do to share your story, to connect with people in terms of meet them in their specific place in their journey, just so that you can then help them at that place as well. So please, if you're going to sell, I want you to serve. Serve as much as you can. Serve as many people as you can, because my goal here is to make the world a better place. And the only way I can do it is by one person at a time. One person. Helping one person improves themselves. Helping out one person then improves the family. Improving the family improves the community. Improving the community, the city. then the country, then the continent, then the world. It all started with one person. And this is where I want to challenge everyone here. Are you watching? Are you willing to help one person? If you're willing to help one person, I also know you're willing to make the world a better place as well. So thank you so much for joining me today in today's live. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. More than happy to help you. Other than that, for this month, we will be continuing for the each Friday. We're going to continue on sales and how to make sure that you guys are selling to your highest potential so that you can be rewarded for what you know without, of course, sounding sleazy, but coming from a serving heart. So thank you very much for being here. I'm Dr. Michael Lee. Have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing every one of you next Friday.